I wanted to go after him because I want to talk about that rally too. My name's John Quesenberry. I'm running for the state senate for Raleigh, Wyoming, and 3 precincts in the great state of McDowell. This is my first time running. I've never been involved or run for public office. Come from a little school called Herndon that's so poor we only had one goalpost. People think that's a joke, but it's true. The other end, it was 7 yards and then a brick building where grades 1, 2, 3 went. So if you wanted to kick a field goal, you had to go up to the other end of the field. I don't know why we didn't run fake field goals. I've been teaching and coaching all my life, and I'm proud to say I am 2-0 in statewide teacher strikes. That's something I'm very proud of. And I'll tell you, the House was carrying the ball politically. The Senate, we had to fight tooth and nail. And I'm running. One of the reasons is we have got to get the leadership in the Senate changed. We have to do that, and we can only do that by flipping the Senate. I want to go back to that rally that Delegate Miller was talking about. Thousands of people there, but it was pouring rain. I said my only claim to fame is I got to be Ojetta's umbrella holder. But as that rain was falling down at the beginning, we didn't know how this was going to turn out. Because back in '90, we got docked 11 days' pay and lost seniority. We didn't know what was going to happen. And as the rain was falling, it dawned on me something I learned about West Virginia history. Sid Two Gun Hatfield, the sheriff that stood up for the miners in the McDowell County wars and the Make-One wars. And he defended them with his last breath of life. After the Make-One massacre, they took him out of county from Mingo to McDowell to try him. And he and another labor leader were shot dead on the steps of the McDowell County courthouse in Welch. And at the funeral, it began to pour. And someone who spoke said, "Even the heavens weep." And as I was standing there, that's what I thought. I'm like, this is 28 years ago. We're fighting the same thing. Are those who have gone on just weeping at what has happened, at the sorrow for our state and for our teachers and our state employees and our working families, what they have to face? At a town hall in Tamarack, something that moved me so much, we found out they released the information West Virginia ranks 5th in the country in pay for political leaders. And one of the legislators, a good legislator, was saying what they made, $20,000 for 60 days. And a lady that works for the DHHR, she raised her hand and her voice trembled and she started to tear up and she said, "Sir, what you make for 60 days, I have to live on for 12 months. And there was nobody to stand up for her. When we went out, we were told, "You guys don't realize this, but you're standing up for all the public employees." And part of that was PEIA. And then it turned out this 55 strong and 55 united was like the impossible dream. You know, we had friends in the legislature. But really, it was 55 counties and a 6th grader that kind of turned these things around. Just the ordinary people. What was said about the people's house was now hearing the voice of the people. And that's why I want to get involved. I'm idealistic. I believe Mr. Smith goes to Washington, that one person can make a difference, that we look out for the other fellow, that we fight for the lost causes. When we were up there, if you remember that Saturday night when the Senate killed everything, and we ran down to the House, and then they adjourned for 30 and rejected the Senate. We ran back. Then we ran back. And when I was walking back to the car, I was dejected. I didn't have a lot of hope. And somebody said, "After you've seen what goes on up here, you sure you want to be up there?" And I thought for a minute. And I thought, I don't know if I'm sure I want to be there. But I'm more convinced now than ever I need to be there. Because we need to put the people's interests against the special interests. Yes. And that's what happened. Like was just mentioned, this is sweeping around the country now. It feels awesome to see somebody with a sign saying, "Don't make us go all West Virginia on you." And that is a good thing. And it's because the regular people's voices were heard. And I will tell you, when I left after they finally passed the pay raise bill, I had a groundskeeper holler at me and wave me over, and he said, "Thank you, teachers, for what you did. We couldn't do that. We were told we would be fired." And before I got to the car, somebody pulled up and stopped in the road and said, "I'm a state worker. Thank you guys for doing that. We weren't allowed to." I'll tell you, as a government teacher, I think it's unconstitutional to say that state workers cannot strike. I mean, the 14th Amendment guarantees equal protection under the law. So I believe we need to quit balancing the budget on the back of the workers. We need to stand up for the working families here. Instead of trying to give away everything, hoping someone will come here, we need to invest in the people that are here. Right to work, prevailing wage, huge giveaways to out-of-state companies. That's not going to bring jobs. It's infrastructure, it's public education, and it's a drug-free workforce. And all of those things take investing. And PEIA is a big issue, I know, for public workers. I know we can't solve it as a state, all of it. We need to encourage our federal government. One thing we could do is lift the ban on importing FDA-approved drugs from Canada that cost a lot less. And also, if we're going to look for funds, the absentee landowners that own and control so much land throughout our state and pay pennies on the dollars in property taxes for what all the residents pay, that's a source we need to go at. And who knows, maybe they would develop some of that land or sell it to someone who would and create some jobs if it's not a big tax write-off. And of course, the severance tax with the gas industry, that's another place. Andrew Jackson did a lot of things I'm not crazy about as president, but I loved to death his heart for the common people. And one of his sayings was, "Privilege for none, opportunity for all." And that's what we need. The People's House needs to represent the people of West Virginia once again, and we've got a chance to do that now. We always talk about our best and our brightest leaving the state, but every one of us that's here right now, it's like we've got a chance to be a new founding generation for West Virginia and build something that's a model for the rest of the country. So I'm excited to be running for office. I don't know how to turn out, but I'd love to have your support, and I'd love any advice, any ideas you have, because a good solution is a good solution no matter who it's coming from. And we need to start remembering that.